screaming like, hey, how you doing? That's good. Well, they're not recording. That'll be a nice one for the archive.
And you'll be like, thanks.
There'll be a bloopers. You're all right.
Game face.
set?
Game
All
face.
set.
I'd like to bring town council meeting for December 15th, 2015 to order, please. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item, Paula.
Is roll call. Counselor Albert.
Here.
Counselor Kobe.
Here.
Counselor Ward.
Here.
Counselor McTevier.
Yeah.
Counselor Bickford.
Here.
Counselor Crafts.
Here.
And Counselor Brunel.
Here.
Next item, Paula.
Good news and recognition.
I had a baby Friday night. It was a great success. Little girl. Star.
Star is born.
That's it.
Yeah.
Tracy, would you like to do yours? Absolutely. You beats me reading your notes.
Thank you. I just wanted to inform everyone that the schools are participating in the School Spirit Challenge for the Good Shepherd Food Bank that is broadcast on, you see them every now and then, WGME 13 and Fox 23. Collection period will begin January 1 and end February 26th. The Lisbon High School will be competing against Great New Gloucester on February 12th. It's a Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. As live broadcasts, they cut in and out. There'll be, pep rallies and events for the kids, but the bigger umbrella is to collect food and monetary donations. For every dollar that is collected, it's 5 pounds of food. They do run a competition between schools. For the most poundage that is raised, you win the School Spirit Challenge Cup. Obviously, it would be great for a little town like Lisbon to take that award, but as we all know, that is not the main objective. The main objective is to make sure that we're able to collect money and food for the cause. It does, if you think of Good Shepherd Food Bank as the Walmart distribution center of food pantries, 50% of what we collect as a school will go to their credit at that location, so they can go there and shop. So it is a benefit to us to bring in as much as possible so that we can pass that on to the LACO that is at the MTM to be able to serve our own community. So look for details. There'll be many different events on how to raise the money, how to collect food, and things like that. So we're doing it district-wide for the school department, so we want to include and make sure that the town knows as well.
Thank you.
Item.
Okay. Would be under public hearings. If there's no objection, the council chair would like to move to item C, 2015-16, school budget hearing.
Good evening. I wanted to present to you the updated school department budget. The subsidy reports that you received and the public has in their possession should have a date of November 30th, 2015 in the bottom left-hand corner. What I wanted to do this evening is just go over the items that are different from the last budget proposal. The items that are, the numbers that are different, the first one starts under on the top left-hand side, you'll see fourth line down, you'll see the amount from undesignated fund. And then under the additional subsidy, you will see a new term. It's GPC rebates, which is Guaranteed Performance Contract rebates. Since the last public hearing, we received $74,255 in rebates for our Guaranteed Performance Contract, or the energy savings contract that we worked through Siemens. So that has been added under that additional subsidy and GPC rebates. The other change has been under the balance to help defray taxes. you will see that there's two items that have been used. One has been reimbursements. We submitted some legal reimbursements for the original bond counsel, and there were some professional services lines for both the gym and the track. The biggest amounts came from some groundwork that was done by a local contractor that was charged to the facilities professional services line and not the bond for either the track or the gym. So for the gym, we did submit for reimbursement a purchase order of a total of $39,492.50. And for the track, we submitted reimbursements for $32,006.52. And we increased the undesignated amount by $4,559.98, which should be the difference between the use of the bond proceeds to pay the interest and the debt service. So if you look right below that, the item that most of you are probably interested in is under the bond proceeds, or the anticipated revenue proceeds from projects. The amount is for the interest only, which is $154,237. So the total budget remains at $15,441,270. But again, one of the biggest hurdles has been the use of the bond proceeds to pay off the debt service, or principal on the debt service instead of the interest. We're still waiting for the audit report, find out what our actual undesignated balance will be, but it's safe to say, based on the estimates, that we would have that amount, if not more, to add to our actual budget.
Do you have a date when the audit's going to be finished, or still on?
I was told 2 weeks ago.
It's in rough draft right now. I asked him today. But they can't release, he's trying to get a determination, but because our audit isn't done, he can't release them separately. So they may have to file an extension to file it with the DOE. But theirs is pretty much done. It's in rough draft. I haven't seen it, but ours is not in rough draft yet.
I'm good. Any questions?
None. Thank you.
I'll do that for you, Larry.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We in the back row can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next item.
Is the public hearing for the Renewal automobile graveyard permits for Campbell's Used Auto Parts and Houston's Auto Salvage.
I'll open a public hearing. Dot?
Dorothy Fitzgerald, Lisbon Falls. I have no question on the junkyards that you have listed. I'm just wondering, 10 Scottsdale Avenue is not a junkyard as per se as listed, but it's not pretty up there. I'm just wondering if any thought has gone into that. Thank you. I have a feeling the neighbors will appreciate a little cleanup there.
Anybody else?
Ron LaRochelle, Lisbon Falls. Sorry, I did, are you gonna offer, as far as for the public hearing, as far as part of for the school, are you gonna open that to the public? I wasn't sure if that was opened up at that point earlier, or?
It's open up to, no, well, it was, but
I was waiting to, actually, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if there was actually, I'm not sure if the people around me knew that it was actually open, and I'm not sure if there's, if you could just actually maybe allow that to be open.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it was actually misunderstood or not.
Go ahead.
I didn't want to jump up on
Yep.
her, so. Could we,
Yep.
you want to reopen that public hearing?
Yep, I will do that. I'll reopen the public hearing for the school. Sorry.
And maybe I'm the only one, I apologize. I didn't realize, so I didn't want to jump up on, not in turn. I think hopefully tonight, I mean, and with the new counselors and with the council that's here, that we can actually look at the school issue tonight and actually have an honest discussion and have some dialogue on it. I would really hate to think that this goes back out to vote the same way it's done for the last 3 without actually making changes. I think number-wise, it's actually pretty close. There's been a lot of changes on the school side, and to a point where I think there's only less than $100,000 difference between the idea of what this would go out to vote and what it wouldn't be. And I would just hope to think the town and the school can work together to figure out where that money would come from. I just hate to think we're going to spend another $3,000 to actually start this process all over again and come back for another vote after, that's all. And I'm sure there would be another vote if it went back the same way it would. But I just hopefully we can actually have tonight here some dialogue as a community of how this is trying to be worked out. I know there've been some resources and people that have actually been trying to get this resolved. So I would hope that the community could actually see that tonight as the council talks and discuss versus the idea of just moving it to another vote without letting us know where you're at. Thank you.
Anybody else on the school? No one else? I'll close the public hearing for the school. Now we'll reopen the public hearing for automobile graveyards. If there's no one else, I will close the automobile graveyards and open for special entertainment permit, liquor license for the Slovak Club. Anybody want to speak? I will close special entertainment one. Okay. Next item, Brad, 12.
Is audience participation and response for agenda items?
Anybody? Okay, next item.
Next item is the consent agenda. Any counselor wishing to have an item removed may do so now. Items removed would be considered next. Seeing none, order 2015-352 to approve the minutes of December 8, a renewal automobile graveyard permits for Campbell's Used Auto Parts and Houston's Auto Salvage, and a special entertainment permit and liquor license for the Slovak Catholic Association.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept.
Have a second?
Second.
Mr. McTivia, Mr. Krass made the motions. Second it? All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, Carla.
If there is no objection, the town council chair would like to move to order 2015-362, the 2015-16 school budget warrant articles, 1 through 9.
Before we get going on this, I want to say something. Me and the chair of the school board have been in discussions, and it's looking very promising. Very promising to me, and I think to her. Without costing, I think we're going to be able to shortly, not as shortly as Fern would like to see it happen, but very shortly, I think we can come to some agreement to make things good. Where the ballots have been already printed, I don't want to expend the cost to redo it, and we'd have to have another, even if I did that, would only give us 1 day to negotiate, and to me, that is not enough. So I am going to let whatever falls here I am gonna let go to vote, referendum. And, the first of the year, after the vote, I am gonna call a couple of workshops with the school board and the town council and see if we can hash out and get this thing settled once and for all. And you're right, the difference is less than $100,000, $83,000 is the difference, and some change, is the difference of what we are gonna propose tonight and what the school proposes. And I really think that we can do something to fix this problem. But there's no way I can do it right now in good faith to everybody. So I'm gonna let it go, and we'll let things fall the way they may, and then in January, we're gonna start. And I will tell you that I plan on, even on the new school budget when it comes in, I plan on trying to get a subcommittee going of maybe 2 or 3 counselors that will sit in with the school board. I just don't want this to happen. I want, next year when we come up for a budget, I want everybody on the same board. So, that is the best I can do. I know some people, it's not good enough, but that's what I can do. Okay?
So do you want to start with Article 1?
Yep.
Article 1, to see what sum the council will authorize the Lisbon School Department to appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from
Excuse me. Does it go directly to that, or the fact, is there any discussion amongst us before we go directly to the articles?
We can do that.
Anything you'd like.
Yeah, I can.
Because I guess I'm not really understanding what the issue is if we're actually considering lowering what we're looking at for a vote here and actually forcing another referendum after the January timeframe. So I'd like to have some constructive dialogue to get me on board.
Well, there's gonna be another vote regardless.
I understand that, but what I'm hearing from what's being alluded to is that I'm expecting at the end game that we're coming down to $515,551 again, and I'd like to know why.
Well, basically, I can tell you what I'm gonna propose is, that, last time we raised in Article 4, $15,038, 3,308, whatever, 410. This time it's $15,188,724. So there has been funds we are raising. We are giving the school department more.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. What I guess what I'm trying to communicate, Mr. Bickford, is to what benefit if we're intending on lowering this? If it's about meeting in the middle, that can be done well after the vote associated with that, with this budget coming through, because we still don't know how the financing's actually going to be arranged. I don't know if I agree with potentially lowering the amount and then forcing another referendum after the January. That's what I'm alluding to.
It's just that like I said, I've talked with Tracy, and there is a thing that we have come to an agreement that we think we can do.
Okay.
And it will knock it, and I'm really thinking that this will work. And it's
There's
just,
only
I don't
so
have
much
the time.
money that we have to work
Right.
with.
I don't have enough time to do the negotiations the way I want to do them.
Okay. Okay, that's fair enough. Thank you.
Anybody else?
since we're talking about it, just so I want to understand a little bit better. I think I get the gist what you're saying. It's just a time crunch. So the one day you just don't feel in good faith. I hear that very clearly.
Right.
You feel that this deserves more discussion than
it
just
does.
let's run up against the deadline here, and then something could be missed. I get
Right.
that. I think that's what.
Yeah.
Is that what you're?
Right.
'Cause that's. I don't think it has anything to do, and I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you
It
right.
has
there.
nothing to do-
Has nothing to do with any sort of money's changing all that much. We're pretty close.
Yeah.
It's just that you, in good faith, you think. The only thing I think I share some of your sentiment there, Alan, which is we don't want to, and I'm sure you don't want to either. We don't want to have the voters pay for another vote after the fact. But it's going to go there, and we get that. So maybe if we get the, are you saying that we're going to be able to get this manipulated prior to the vote for January, or no? What we put down tonight is it.
That's it. It'll
Yeah.
have to be after the vote, and we'll come back in.
We're looking towards the future.
Oh, I
trying to
agree.
make things work.
And
We're
we're,
limited to what we can do at this point in time.
Okay.
And I didn't, I'm pretty sure that we can do this, but I want all the facts and the figures.
Okay.
And I need help to get all these facts and figures.
So best possible case scenario is this goes through as it stands, as it sits right now, face value, the changes that are going to be made.
Right.
And then we'll vote, and however that vote shakes out is however that shakes out. But in the event that we need to go back and vote again, we're probably not going to wrap this thing up until sometime
Right.
in March, right?
Right.
That would be a fair assessment, Twyla? I'm not sure of the timelines.
Yeah, and I'm really gonna push to do that.
New budget season is already kicking off, so we're going to be.
We'll be right hard in the new budget season.
All right. Okay,
So
thank
we're
you.
gonna have to put our nose to the grindstone, because it's gonna be very difficult.
Perfect. Thank you.
I really think we can do it.
I know we can do it.
Can I interject here?
Yep.
I'm just curious as to why, if you're saying that it's a time crunch, why we dragged our feet instead of working with them, knowing that this was going to be an issue. It's been an issue. Why we're waiting till now?
Because basically, we're waiting for you to get here.
That's fair.
You know,
Okay.
the council, and then when it became, we found out what it is, it just, that was only a week or so ago, and it's just not enough time.
Okay.
I mean, I think we did jump on the communications real fast,
Which is good.
but there's just not enough time in between.
Fair enough.
My understanding was that it's not like we're giving more money, it's that they've been finding more money.
Mm-hmm.
We're allowing that to go through.
Yep.
That's what it is. You've all got the same emails I think the rest of us got,
Right.
correct?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, and the 83 grand is just your number and our number, and that's where we're apart.
Yeah.
And if we weren't 83 grand apart, we'd have a different vote here today.
I think I don't want to speak for myself when I say
Easy.
this. Yeah, I think I don't have any question about what the motive is for it. I think you made it very clear and transparent that it's just that time constraint makes you feel uncomfortable in the sense that we want to give it all the due diligence in the time that we need and not feel like we might miss something. I can absolutely appreciate that, and I don't think any one of us doesn't have any respect for that. I just wanted to hear it a little bit more from
Yep.
that side, that's all.
Everybody all set? Okay. Twyla?
Now we begin with Article 1. Okay, to see what sum the council will authorize the Lisbon School Department to appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act. Recommended $13,764,132, and to see what sum the council will raise as the town's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act in accordance with the Maine Revised Statutes Title 20A, Section 15688. School committee recommends $4,412,240.
A motion from council,
Make a motion to accept.
a second.
Second.
Who seconded it? Thank you.
It's verbal.
It's a roll call vote if you like.
Yep.
Okay. Counselor Albert?
Yay.
Counselor Bickford?
Yay.
Counselor Crafts?
Yes.
Counselor Ward?
Yes.
Counselor McTevier?
Yes.
Counselor Brunel?
Yes.
And Counselor Colby?
Yes.
There's 7 yeas, 0 nays, order passed. Article 2?
Yep.
To see what sum the council will authorize the Lisbon School Department to raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the legislative body for non-state funded school construction projects or non-state funded portions of school construction projects in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the school administrative unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12. School committee recommends $477,356.
We have a motion?
Make a motion to accept?
Second.
Roll call vote. Counselor Kobe?
Yes.
Counselor Brunel?
Yes.
Counselor McTevier?
Yes.
Counselor Ward?
Yes.
Counselor Crafts?
Yes.
Counselor Bickford?
Yes.
And Counselor Albert?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, order passed.
I'm gonna go with, Article 5 now.
Article 5, to see if the council will authorize the Lisbon School Department to appropriate $152,858 for adult education and raise $106,878 as the local share, with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program. School committee recommends yes.
I have a
Make a motion to accept?
Yes.
Second that.
Roll call vote.
Yep.
Counselor Crafts?
Yes.
Counselor Ward?
Yes.
Counselor McTevier?
Yes.
Counselor Bickford?
Yes.
Counselor Brunel?
Yes.
Counselor Albert?
Yes.
And Counselor Kobe.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, order passed.
Article 6.
Article 6, to see what sum the council will authorize the Lisbon School Department to expend for adult education. School committee recommends $168,672.
Have a motion?
Make the motion to accept?
Second.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Counselor Ward?
Yes.
Counselor McTevier?
Yes.
Counselor Brunel?
Yes.
Counselor Kobe?
Yes.
Counselor Albert?
Yes.
Counselor Bickford?
Yes.
And Counselor Crafts.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, order passed.
Article 7.
Article 7, in addition to amounts approved in the preceding articles, shall the council authorize the school committee to expend sums as may be received from federal or state grants or programs or other sources during the fiscal year for school purposes, provided that such grants, programs, or other sources do not require the expenditure of other funds not previously approved. School committee recommends yes.
The motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Counselor Bickford.
Yes.
Counselor Brunel.
Yes.
Counselor Albert.
Yes.
Counselor Kobe.
Yes.
Counselor Crafts.
Yes.
Counselor McTevier.
Yes.
And Counselor Ward.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, order passed.
Article 8.
Article 8, shall the council of the town of Lisbon authorize expenditure of $43,260 from the school department capital reserve fund to be applied to the following plant maintenance and remodeling expenses in the fiscal year 2016. Lisbon School Department budget. Initial payment for the guaranteed performance contract lease not covered by energy savings. School committee recommends $43,260.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Counselor Kobe.
Yes.
Counselor Brunel.
Yes.
Counselor McTevier.
Yes.
Counselor Ward.
Yes.
Counselor Crafts.
Yes.
Counselor Bickford.
Yes.
And Counselor Albert.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, order passed.
Article 9.
Article 9, shall the council of the town of Lisbon authorize expenditure of $154,237 of the remaining proceeds from the bonds issued by the town of Lisbon for the gym and track project at Lisbon High School to pay the interest on the bonds. School committee recommends $154,237.
Make a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Yes. No, go for it.
Roll call vote.
Yep.
Counselor Albert.
Yes.
Counselor Bickford.
Yes.
Counselor Crafts.
Yes.
Counselor Ward.
Yes.
Counselor McTevier.
Yes.
Counselor Brunel.
Yes.
And Counselor Kobe.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, order passed.
Article 3.
Article 3, shall the town of Lisbon raise and appropriate $599,425 in additional local funds which exceeds the estate's essential programs and services allocation model by $305,606 as required to fund the budget recommended by the school committee. The school committee recommends $599,425 for additional local funds and gives the following reasons for exceeding the state's essential programs and services funding model by $305,606. For co-curricular and extracurricular activities, the state only supports 20% of Lisbon's total expenditures. $232,833 is the teacher retirement portion that was previously paid by the state. Substitute pay, the state allocates half a day per student. This does not cover long-term absences, whereas substitutes are paid at a higher rate. Special education, this additional amount is partly due to year-old student information, summer school scheduling, and reduced financial support at the federal and state levels. Nutrition or lunch, the state does not provide any subsidy to cover the expenses in the general budget. Transitional funds, also included in the additional local funds, is the transitional amount that is due to the state not providing the full 55% of funding. School committee recommends $599,425 in additional local funds.
I make the motion that the town of Lisbon shall raise and appropriate $515,551 in additional local funds.
I make a motion, do I have a motion on that? You made a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Roll call vote, okay. Counselor McTevier,
Yes.
Counselor Crafts,
Yes.
Counselor Albert,
No.
Counselor Bickford,
Yes.
Counselor Ward,
No.
Counselor Brunel,
Yes.
Counselor Colby.
No.
We have 4 yeas and 3 nays. Order passed.
Article 4.
Article 4, to see what sum the council will authorize the Lisbon School Committee to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2015, and ending June 30th, 2016, from the town's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. School committee recommends $15,272,598.
I'm gonna make this motion, $15,188,724. I need a second.
Need a
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote?
No.
Okay. Counselor Colby?
No.
Counselor Brunel?
Yes.
Counselor McTevier?
Yes.
Counselor Ward?
No.
Counselor Crafts?
Yes.
Counselor Bickford?
Yes.
And Counselor Albert?
No.
We have 4 yeas and 3 nays. Order passed.
Next item, 12.
If there is no objection, the town council chair would like to move to order 2015-363, the school budget validation referendum warrant. The warrant will call the election for January the 12th, 2016. The registrar will be open. Her hours will be January 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11 during the office hours here at the town hall, and on the January 12th during the polling hours. And we would like the council to approve setting up fewer booths than required by statute. We'll probably put 10 in each ward. And we want to cast absentee ballots on election day at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and 8 p.m. in accordance with Title 21A, Section 759. Polling hours in the warrant specifies 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the polling locations the same place at Ward or District 1 at the Superintendent's Central Office Building, Gym, and Ward in District 2 at MTM Community Center Gymnasium.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept.
Second?
Second.
By show of hands or by roll call?
Show of hands. All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, Paula.
The next item would be at the beginning of council orders, resolutions, and ordinances, Order 2015-353, the Durham Dispatch Agreement.
The dispatch agreement starts on page 31, and if you refer to page 32 of your agenda packet, you'll see section 4 where most of the changes occurred. If you go down to the very last sentence that we struck out based on the discussion we had at the last council meeting, I spoke to the administrator in Durham, and she had no problem with that language. The only request that she made is if we could just change the 60 to 90 days. So my recommendation would be to unstrike that and just change the 60 to 90 days and present it to Durham for a vote. If for some reason she's wrong and they vote against it, I'd bring it back to you and we can revisit it. So that would be the only change, is to amend it to the 90 days, put that last sentence back in paragraph 4.
So they seemed amicable to it then.
I'd make that motion if everybody's in agreement, seeing so the fact that that was my point. Was Durham comfortable with it? So
Yep.
I think that that would be prudent
With the amendment.
with the amendment. Correct.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0. Next item is Order 2015-354, the sewer acquired redemption.
On page 27 of your packet, I have listed the properties that we foreclosed upon for non-payment of sewer fees back on December 3rd, 2015. The next step in the process is for council to allow me to send out a redemption letter, giving them an additional 30 days, but at this point in time, because we foreclosed on it, they would have to pay everything that they owe on taxes and sewer in order for us to quit claim it back to them. I can say that there are lien holders on every single properties here listed, and we have been in contact with several of the lien holders, and they're just waiting for a payoff amount, and they'll pay us, and then we'll quit claim it back to the owner. So I just need permission to do it and to receive payment in full. And I'd like it, and I also included in my motion to receive payment in full and quit claim back to the prior owner up until the time that council disposes of the property. That way I won't have to keep coming back, because whoever is left by the time we put it out for sale, there's going to be 2 or 3 months going by here, and a lot of people will end up paying. That's what happened last year when I went through this process, especially with income taxes coming back. So that's in my motion is here, to authorize the town treasurer to send out a 30-day notice of redemption to the tax-acquired sewer property owners of record, allowing them 30 days to pay all real estate, sewer and fees owed on the property in full by the end of the 30-day period of redemption, and to accept the funds until council takes action to dispose of the property and issue a quitclaim deed when payment is received in full. That's the motion.
Need a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
I'll accept. All right, second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Just as a note, we sent out foreclosure notices today on the taxes, for 2014 taxes. We had 22, I believe, that we sent out. So we'll be going through this process in another month again.
Next item, Twila.
Order 2015-355, the Freedom of Access Act policy.
That's you, 12.
The policy was pretty much the instruction sheet on our website, and so it's come to our attention that it would be better served if it were the policy, because we plan to follow the instruction sheet.
Okay.
Basically, we wanted the public to be aware of our policy, so we have available the application online as well for people to download if they want to use that as. So we're
Make a motion.
recommending.
Accept?
Make a motion to accept?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, in the reading associated with that, they talk about the fact that, if they wish to make a FOA request,
It's not mandatory in any instance. You can call and request information, and you can stop by the office and ask for information. But we suggest, and that's why we put it in there as just a recommendation, that if you have an item that you're looking for and it's gonna take us some time to research, we'd like to not lose track of it. And so if we fill out the form for you, if you fill out the form for us, then we can better to monitor that process, so.
would it be more prudent to say that they have to fill out the form so we are tracking?
We can't. That-
Okay, so
it's-
that you-
by
do
the
you-
law, it doesn't allow us to
Okay, so you're
mandate that.
advising to be able to get as many as
Advising,
you
yeah.
are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
I'm good with that, thank you.
okay. Show of hands. All in favor?
Those opposed, 7-0, order passed.
Next item, Twyla.
Order 2015, 356, surplus property disposal.
Back again for this surplus property disposal. We finally did receive some bids. We have two items that we'd like to dispose of. One is the 1996 Chevy Kodiak with the vac on. That was the old sewer cleaning truck. We did receive a bid from Ted Berry Company for $10,000, which surprised us all. Then we request permission to sell that truck to the Ted Berry Company. And we also received a couple bids on the 1987 Ford L8000, which had the sewer, the catch basin cleaning unit and a little crane on it. Received two bids, one from Mike Stewart for $200 and one from Bob Elwell for $810. And we requested permission to sell the truck to Bob Elwell for the $810.
I think it's a little cheap, but since you made it out so well on the other one. But,
We just want it gone.
yeah, we'll clean up the yard a little.
Yep.
Now, are these the ones that originally went out with a bid requirement
Yep.
and nothing, there was no bites? Okay.
Yep.
I'll have a motion.
Make a motion that we give approval to sell them.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, Twyla.
Order 2015-357, Maine Electronics Industrial Wastewater Discharge Permit.
You have in your packets a copy of a 5-year permit draft for Maine Electronics to be able to discharge to the sewer department. We have to do this every 5 years. They've been discharging basically with the same permit for the last 15 to 20 years with no adverse effects to the treatment plant itself. And this is basically just the same renewal of the permit. We made some minor changes based on our wastewater discharge permit from the treatment plant, some changes to our parameters, and we kind of mirrored those requirements in the permit to Maine Electronics. So we need you folks to sign it, so we're here to get permission to issue this permit to Maine Electronics. Actually, Rockwell Collins is the folks that would sign it.
Need a motion?
Make a motion we accept?
Second. Any discussion?
The modifications, I know they're slight, and I reviewed those. Just give me a rundown, if you would, of, there was something about the federal requirements were just as, I guess, as stringent as what we had in place. Was I reading that right, or did I not get that right?
What happened is that there's a couple of items that they no longer need to, they haven't been high enough and that they've been an issue. And they've, again, since taken and removed them from our permit. And I don't know why. I couldn't tell you from that standpoint. But they were items that they will still have to report to us, even though they don't have to measure it. I mean, they have to measure it, but they don't have to, let me read that language again, because that was new.
Sure, and while you,
So-
yeah, go ahead.
Yep, there's no maximum limit, but they do have to continue to report to us what the limit actually is. And I don't know why there's no maximum limit, I can't answer that. I'll throw Rich Fortin on the, on the hot seat. He's here from Drummond Environmental. He does represent Maine Electronics, and he may be able to elaborate on that if you'd like.
That would be great, thank you.
Yep.
I'm Rich Fortin. I'm with Drummond Environmental out of Portland, and I've been working on the Maine Electronics site for over 20 years, representing Rockwell Collins and Maine Electronics. And basically, we're asking to do some housekeeping on this permit. There are two compounds that were removed from, in addition to this permit to the POTW, Maine Electronics maintains a separate permit to discharge to the river, should it ever want to discharge to the river. But they choose not to do that. They continue to discharge and use the POTW. Basically, the water that we're discharging is for the most part non-detect in most compounds. But in the permit they have to the river, the DEP has removed some of the compounds because the aquatic water quality criteria either don't exist or they've been relaxed so that the level of discharge to the river could be higher. And in return, in the same sense that Lisbon's Lisbon's permit discharges to the Androscoggin River, and those compounds have also been relaxed so that they don't have those compounds in their permit. We're asking that we not have those compounds in the Maine Electronics permit. So that includes a compound, the aquatic water quality criteria for arsenic and the aquatic water quality criteria for a dichloroethylene. So, as Ryan indicated, we continue to monitor and measure for these compounds and report, but there's no need to have them in the permit because there's no criteria to measure them against anymore, or no applicable criteria at the levels that we're discharging. So,
I heard you say that you report it, but are you required to report it at any point in time after these are, if we would choose to go ahead and relax this in the permit, would you then be able to go ahead somewhere down the line and say we don't want to report that anymore? Is there any contract language that states that you must continue to report?
Under the current post-closure license that we have with the state, we continue to report those compounds.
So there's a state requirement that those levels must be reported, and so that would be communicated then to the town.
Well, it's both the reporting to the state, but the state permit is also asking that it be reported to the towns. So if the town takes it out of the permit, then we could still report, but it won't necessarily be required because it's not a regulated, not a regulated.
Whereas it is right now.
There is a existing criteria in the permit, in the Lisbon permit.
Yep.
But like I say, it's been removed from other permits, and
Sure.
Lisbon doesn't have a limitation in its permit to the river for arsenic, and so we're just asking to be treated the same way that Lisbon's permit is being treated.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Those opposed? Any abstentions? No, 601, and 6-1. Thank you.
Next item, Twyla.
Order 2015-358, the 2015 BYRNE JAG Grant Award. call that the Burn JAG Grant Award? Is that called the Burn JAG Grant Award?
Very brief. This year's award is $1,998, and I'd like to put those dollars towards 3 bulletproof vests for reserve officers. Reserve officers were not included in the original bulletproof vest grant, the 50/50 grant. So this will cover some of that. Actually, will cover a good portion of it for the reserves. That's it. Last year, it was the rifle plate vests, which some of you remember, and those are in service, but the two have to work together in order to get the job done. They have to wear both. So we're trying to catch up.
Diane, can we put this so if he doesn't have to come back if he gets the grant?
Right, we can streamline it and do it all into one motion the next time we apply for a grant. We can't do that in all grants, but in the ones that we don't have to show the documentation, we can certainly do it. When we apply for it, if he's successful in obtaining the funds, you can make the motion to accept the funds if he's successful. That way we don't have to keep bringing it back.
Okay.
Streamline it.
I'd like to have a motion made like that.
I will make that motion to accept, and that if it is received, that he can use that money.
Second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, Twyla.
Order 2015-359, the 2016 Evidence-Based Impaired Driving High Visibility Enforcement Grant Award.
Town received notification that this grant had been approved by Bureau of Highway Safety on December 1st. This is that second phase of the system that you're just talking about. So we need council approval to accept the funds. Highway Safety did reduce the original request to $3,000. Oh, I have it here in front of me. $3,879. What I learned is that that was a statewide move on their part. Most all agencies that applied received lower amounts because the application amounts applied for far exceeded the federal dollars, I guess, that were available. So they did cut back, and they hope partway through the grants that they'll be able to make up the difference. Probably not the entire difference, but we've got a good amount to get started. So that's where we are. I need your approval I need you to accept this award that's been made.
I need a motion to accept.
Second.
You make the motion.
I thought you said I made a motion. I make a motion that we accept.
There you go.
All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Thank you.
Next item, Twyla.
Order 2015-360, the CDBG Micro Enterprise Grant Letter of Intent.
All right, I'll sort of be addressing both of the next two pieces.
I was hopeful you would.
Yeah. Before Tracy starts, I'll just do the overview based on the memo that was in the packet. We, for the benefit of new counselors, the Route 196 committee has been working on things such as the 196 corridor master plan and the downtown plan updates. We've been working on implementation efforts over the last couple of years. We applied for a community development block grant last year and were unsuccessful. We came in second, and we're planning to reapply. And as you may have read in the memo, we found out late this summer that they were cutting that grant program entirely. So we spent the fall trying to see if we could change that, and then going to Plan B and trying to figure out what our next step would be. The short answer on the grant funding is it's not looking good. There is still a slight chance, though, if additional federal funds come, that they might reinstate some money to this grant. But we've looked at, there aren't really other grants that cover this same kind of stuff that we wanted to do with streetscape as well as pedestrian. We talked with AvCog, with the Regional Transportation folks, ATRC, to see if there was other funding there. The answer was only if you want to boot other projects for transportation, so we decided that probably wasn't going to be a good idea. So we're pretty comfortable actually with Plan B with these two tasks. We've been doing, Tracy especially has been doing a lot of coordinating with the Department of Community and Economic Development to try to figure out an approach. They've been very supportive of this. Basically our sort of two options for looking at those fundings are to go for simultaneously do letters of intent for facade grant money, that's the micro enterprise grant, and to go ahead and do a letter of intent for the downtown revitalization grant in the event that additional federal funding does come forward. So those letters of intent have to go to the state in January or by January, and hopefully shortly thereafter we just need to make a call on one or the other so that we can go in a direction. But I think with both of these, ultimately what we're looking for is construction and implementation of a project this year. We've been talking a lot with Ryan, also coordinating with all of our associates who did the engineering for the original streetscape plan we applied for last year. And we feel we can, if we get the downtown revitalization grant back online and we want to go for that same project, that would be great. We can just sort of basically follow those steps that we did before, and we feel that a second time around we have a really strong position. We scored very, very well last go around, and our same match funds are in place. If that funding doesn't become available, we plan to look at modifying that to continue with the already approved completion of the Davis Street connection from the end of the trail up to Lisbon Street. We want to then take parts of that streetscape plan. We want to get the crossing in, that pedestrian crossing. We already have the lights. We already have that piece in place. And then look at, instead of the work right on 196, we can probably continue a project for pedestrian improvements to Main Street, which would be timely because there are planned Main Street sidewalk and road improvements in 2017, 2018. So that's coming right up too. So being able to go ahead and implement the pedestrian connection up Davis Street, crossing Main, and all the way into the downtown in time for the upcoming, in a couple years, the downtown being basically redone in terms of pedestrian. That would be a pretty good thing. So that project, Plan B on that one is basically using straight up the cash that we had reserved for the grant and just getting something done because we can't sit on that money forever and the grants are not cooperating. So Tracy's other option that she's been working hard on with the facade program does not require a local match. That program would be monies that come in, and then as applicants come forward for the facades, it's basically a one-to-one match. So it doesn't require town funding. It will require private funding for people to invest in order to get those grants or forgivable loans. And I'll leave Tracy to talk about some of the specifics on the letter of intent unless any of you have a question or two for me now.
So you're telling me that maybe we'll get that sidewalk in this year?
Yes, the last time I talked with Brian, we were thinking, especially if we're going with Plan B, just building the sidewalk on our own dime, get it done before July. I mean, he sees no reason why we could. I think it would be worth pushing to get it done this spring. We've been waiting long enough.
Yeah, because I'm not getting any younger.
I know. So I think everybody feels that sense of let's get this built. Let's get something in there. And so that's what I've been sort of communicating is we'll make sure he's on board and he feels like that the town can, then the crew can handle those things. Also checking with the engineer, making sure that we've got the right assumptions in place so that we don't suddenly find out, well, we can't actually do this piece of it because we didn't know whatever. So we're trying to make sure we've got all our homework done so that if it comes down to, yes, we could do this, then we want to just get it done.
That would be good because I see a safety issue. It's getting to be.
Yep.
A lot of people are using the road, and I think it will do wonders.
So once we sort of know which path we're going to end up going on, I expect before we, or as we're developing the applications, we'll probably need to have some meetings or hearings to sort of present if this is officially what the project will be, make sure any abutters are sort of updated and notified as to what the final plan is, discuss all the budget items, which we have plenty of time to sort of work out at this point.
Any questions?
All right, so I'll let her do the official letter of intent.
I think you did it all good. You pretty much got an update on that. Basically, I'm looking to do 2 letters of intent under the CDBG, and this is so we are able to get our foot through the door and in the queue. One of the letter of intents is the micro enterprise grant, which is the facade grant, is due January 1st, which is Friday, and it doesn't matter if it's New Year's Day, they'll be closed, but it is still due that date. The other one, the downtown revitalization grant, that will be due at the end of January. So my goal is to bring both of them before council, get approval for Diane to sign the letter of intents, and then we can get those in and get them in the queue. So then that way, depending on what happens at the legislative level, that's where the decision is going to be made. They have had public hearings. I've sent a letter. I know Positive Change Lisbon has sent letters. They have heard from many other communities to leave that funding alone, because it definitely does help the communities, especially with budgets being so tight. So that's what I'm asking for.
Make the motion.
I make a motion that we accept.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
You have 2 separate orders.
Are you combining
Doing
both
both-
now at
we
this
doing
time?
both
You're
together?
doing the
Do 'em both
downtown?
together.
Well, I make a motion that we accept both of them.
Okay, I thought that was what your motion was, because you were discussing both.
And authorize this town manager to sign?
Yes, and authorize the town manager to sign for it.
Okay,
All those in favor?
all in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, Twyla.
Is Order 2015-364, the town department's Christmas Eve schedule.
The departments listed here, Public Works, Sewer, Transfer Station, Parks and Rec, Library, and the library departments, they are all open on Fridays, so they would get paid holiday time for having that day off. So what we're requesting is, so that we're all have the same time off, is to authorize me to close those departments on December 24th, and those employees would have to use accrued vacation, holiday, personal, or comp time to be compensated. And we talked to everybody in all those departments, and they are in favor of using accrued time so that they can have December 24th off. The transfer station is normally closed on Thursdays anyway, but the guys work. They do cleanup and hauling, and they still may haul, and if they do, then they wouldn't have to use any accrued time. It would still be a day work, but at least they have the option of working or not. So that's our request to close those departments on December 24th.
Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, Twyla?
Under other business, the town manager's report.
Now, the only thing I was going to report on, and I've done it already, is on the audit. The auditor was here today working on our audit, and I did ask him about filing the schools, and he said it's in draft form, and he's just waiting for some information back to see if he can file it ahead of ours. He doesn't think he can because they're both tied together, and ours is not going to be done by December 31st. So I'll keep you updated on that. But he's trying to wrap it up. And that's all I have to talk about tonight.
When were these audits supposed to be in?
This is we didn't have any deadline. I don't believe. I'd have to look back at it, but this is a brand-new auditor, and they've had a lot of challenges in this audit. So It's not their fault. It's what the hand that they were dealt in doing the audit.
Next item, Twyla?
Is the department head reports, the Public Works Department.
Good evening again. Just report on the activities for Public Works, sewer and solid waste. November is generally a transition time for us at Public Works as we get ready for winter, which thankfully hasn't arrived. We did spend quite a few, well, over a week hauling the winter sand for the year. And that had its own issues as the trucks ended up being run on a consistent basis, and more often than not they were back to the shop for minor repairs. But pretty much everything is up and running now, and ready for if and when it does snow. The end of the month we generally spend time decorating the falls and the village, and then the Christmas tree at the gazebo park. The sewer department, basically they stayed busy with their normal O&M of the treatment plant and the entire collection system. And they also still were, with the good weather, able to keep cleaning storm drains this year. They were, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, was somewhere around 120 man hours that they've spent cleaning storm drains this year. And we've made a dent, but a very tiny dent in what we need to do overall. At the same time, we've set up with a tablet, and they've been collecting data on the storm drain system. So that's documented for the storm water permit that we have, and we're continuing to fine-tune that documentation approach. But they're GPS locating the catch basins, taking measurements and conditions and whatnot, with their primary focus on Main Street, because Maine DOT needed that information in order to go forward with their design work for a project which soon to be determined what the schedule is as far as that's concerned. But based on the condition of the pipes and whatnot, it's pretty safe to say at this point I think you'll see a rather involved reconstruction project on Main Street from 196 basically all the way out to just past Summer Street, which is the urban compact line. The transfer station trash trailer was repaired, and they've got that back into service. This may overlap a little bit into December, but it's back in service right now, and it seems to be, everything seems to be fine at this point. They had still working the air out of the hydraulic system, and I haven't gotten an update if there's any leaks on the cylinders. MDOT did supervise additional repairs to the steep slope along the Indusgarden River Trail. Hopefully that'll be the end of it. Until the grass grows, I guess we're not sure. And the town office roof replacement is, we're still waiting for them to show up. Materials have been here for quite a while, and Diane started, apparently I wasn't getting anywhere, so Diane has started hounding them, and I'm not sure.
I did. I got an email late this afternoon, and they promised they're going to start next week. So.
Yes.
So
We
if
got
there's any
good weather.
questions, I'd be
Not
happy
much
to
longer, though.
answer any.
The trash trailer looks like it's gonna be all right.
It does. I mean, that worked out
It looked
really
like,
well.
I saw some of the repairs, and they looked like it did a good job on it.
That's the first time we've used that firm, and he did a fantastic job. I mean, he did mention that a lot of what broke, which was what we'd already kind of been told, was there was some inferior welding to begin with. But the work he did looked very good, and that's a great asset to have right in town, based on what he's able to work for. So that worked out very well.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, Ronald?
Is the Economic and Community Development Report.
Good evening again. You have basically your memo. I'm just going to kind of go briefly on it. November was pretty much a busy month for me, assistant, I guess you could say. I wasn't able to really get out and visit the businesses. As far as this month, I had to shift gears and assist in other ways here with the town office. However, we did do a business ribbon cutting, and Councilor Brunel was there for the ribbon cutting. The shop auto services and classic car restoration. They held their ribbon cutting on November 16th. The building basically is a 5,000 square foot building with 7 garage bays. He's busy. I mean, he's just very, very busy over there. I know that Mike is really enjoying his new place and hopes to even expand. So this is definitely a business that could be expanding. And when comes expansion, comes hiring of new employees. So that's always good. Holiday shopping. Here we are at the holiday shopping. And as I kind of go through and look at it, one thing that we do have here in Lisbon that a lot of communities do not have, we have a directory on our website of Shop Lisbon, and is where all the businesses can go in and register themselves as a business. If you're looking for a particular business, you can go in there, type in a search, and everybody that's registered under there will pop up. So as we look at holiday shopping, let's look local. We don't have the big box store, but we've got plenty of the little box stores. We've got plenty of those smaller businesses that can give you gift certificates. There's salons. There's auto repairs. Who doesn't need an oil change and to have something like that in your stocking? So I would just encourage everybody to look at locally as they do their shopping, not just for the holidays, but all year round. And I also encourage everybody to go on the website and download the app, because we do have a mobile phone app for the smartphones. And again, updated information is off of that map. It's attached directly to the website, and it's free, so it's not going to cost you anything. So. Also during the month of November, we've been talking a lot about brownfields. I did attend the EPA New England workshop, and basically if you're looking to apply for brownfields grants, you must attend the workshop. And it goes over any of the new regulations in preparation for the 2016 grant. Again, looking at doing a grant for here for Lisbon, and we did speak about that at the last council meeting for $200,000, and that grant will be submitted this week. The Moxie Festival. As we all know, the Kennebec Fruit Company Moxie store the building is up for sale. It has a long history here, and I definitely did some research on the history and everything that did go on that building. I have been working with Haggerty Realtor, which that's who it's listed under. There has been some interest here and there, but it is a building that needs a little TLC. One of the things in working with these grant programs is the possibility of having the facade grants and also looking at that building as a historic type of building. So you also get those tax credits for historic if somebody wanted to restore the building. I just want to say that when you do the research, one of the items I was reading was Moxie Maine in a Bottle. That was written by Jim Balmer, and it really goes and interviews Franks and goes through the whole history. And we know the festival started back in the day with the postcards sent out, and Frank Potter and the autographed, and what was originally Frontier Days has turned into the Moxie Festival, and we definitely bring tons of people into the community for the festival. But the festival started in '82, and it certainly has grown to become the festival that it is today, and it certainly is recognized throughout the country. I receive emails and messages from people all over. In fact, they want to know where they can buy Moxie. I tell them, go through Coca-Cola. Maybe they can buy it online or something. But I also would like to let people know that the festival committee would like to thank Frank Anastetti and others who have helped put Lisbon on the map with the annual Moxie Festival. There are a lot of people that have done this and worked through this throughout the years. We also want to reassure people that the committee is dedicated to continue the work of the Moxie Festival and continue to bring people here to this community. So that's it for me, unless you have any questions.
What can you do with the Lisbon app?
Sorry?
What can you do with your Lisbon app?
What can you do with it?
What kind of services are on the app?
It basically connects to the website it goes also to Moxie. I believe that you can do reports. So, for instance, if somebody has a pothole or somebody has an animal control issue, you can go in and you can report that. We also now have on there, we added the stormwater button. So again, if you see something within stormwater issues, you can report, and it goes right into Ryan. So it's just a kind of a tool of a one place to go for everything. It also has all of the businesses are listed on there. And I believe it connects to the school's website, because I think that I had them connected to the school's website too. But
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anything else?
What's up?
Okay.
Next item, Twyla?
The department head reports, written reports for council review.
I think Ed just wanted to speak on his report.
Yep.
It's been some time since I've had an opportunity to meet with you and speak with you on what's going on in finance. Since the fiscal year closed, and we've been pretty busy with the auditor, as Diane alluded to, there have been a lot of challenges for the audit this year. As you know, we started off by suggesting to you folks who were on council that we in fact have a treasury audit done, since we lost a finance director, went through a couple of a town manager, and then an interim. It's really, the whole process this year has been extremely beneficial. And I really look forward to the audit report coming out and having an opportunity with Diane to address the auditor's report with you. Getting ready to look ahead and beyond the audit into the future. We've been working on a number of things in finance. We're trying to get the ledger reorganized to make it more efficient and more informative, and also comply with generally accepted accounting principles and its structure. Okay, we're trying to eliminate unneeded accounts, accounts that are misclassified, and setting up what I will call the appropriate fund types to account for certain transactions, such as grants that are handed down through either the federal government or the state government. We also want to reorganize, and are reorganized to where we can match revenues and expenditures for programs. Do that so that there is some relationship between the revenues that come in for a specific function and what gets expended for those programs. We're going through and eliminating all the unnecessary bank accounts. We have over 40 bank accounts on our menu, okay? Are they all used equally? The deposits the same throughout? They're not. I've discovered that we had set up bank accounts in the past that were never capitalized, and no funds have run through them. So those are immediately going to be closed. I've had to, in addition to close bank accounts, I've also had to open a couple of bank accounts for what I'll call better segregation of cash, and again, providing some cash control over activities. I've set up
a flow-through account for the school, so I can segregate the school's money from the town's money. We're also moving the money that comes in from folks for their water bills out of the town's checking account, so that gets segregated. I've made some changes with the online payport system, which allows people here in Lisbon to go in and pay their taxes online, pay their sewer bills online, and pay their water bills online. Problem we've had with the sewer and water piece of it has been that it falls under one broad heading called utilities. And we spend a lot of time trying to pick apart the payments to figure out what goes to water and what goes to sewer. So I met with Shelley Reynolds down at the Water Department, and she's a very good partner to work with, a really cooperative individual. I think she's got the same goals as we have up here, and that's to try to make things more efficient and work better for the people here in the community. So we undertook a project with Informe to be able to segregate the sewer piece from the water piece. So those payments that are queued up for water will go directly to their banking system, and the sewer payments and the taxes that come in online will go directly to our bank account. It'll be a lot easier to identify what is what. So I think that will be a great help and a time saver for both myself and the deputy tax collector. The goal of shuffling, I will say shuffling, reorganizing our cash management, will be able to provide you folks a clearer idea when I come in and talk about cash of what the cash available is for operating what I'll call the general government piece of the town. Okay. Other things that we're working on is improving the quality of financial reporting, looking at this year, including a lot of key indicators in the financial statements. We have never really had a letter of transmission or transmittal, or what I'll call the management discussion and analysis, which really talks about the financial condition of the town, kind of gives you an overview of the financial statements. So I'm busily working on that. We're also, as I said, I'm going to include a statistical section. The statistical section will present a broad range of information over time. I think this year the most interest that I've heard from council has been what is our position regarding related to debt overall and lease purchases. So I think what I will concentrate on in this year's report is to give you a comprehensive picture as to where we stand with our debt and with our lease purchases. We'll have some indicators such as debt per capita, what I think our capacity is, where we fall under the municipal debt limit, how much room we have. Hopefully for this year, I'm working on a new budget document. I've kind of held it back from Diane at this point because I don't want to get her too excited on the new format, but I am hoping that if I can get this ready to go for this year, basically you'll be able to look at your budget and relate that to what we see as the demographic trends here in town, Bureau of Labor Statistics economic forecast, what our past staffing patterns have been, some comparatives as to where we've spent our tax dollars, and what, in fact, does your budget purchase for the dollar. So there will be hopefully much more narrative on the program end. We do have some challenges that really impact our ability to complete all of these tasks. And so the big challenge is that we really need to replace our current accounting system. It's my opinion that Lisbon has really outgrown it. I don't see where the vendor is really keeping the system robust enough to move us into the future. Lisbon is not a small, suburban, sleepy town. We're a town of almost 9,000 people at the current time, And as you listen to Tracy, we're hopefully going to be a town that grows. So in order to really get down to some really gritty and granular data that would allow us to provide you with, I hope, good information to base decisions on, we are at the point that we need to make a decision, or you folks need to make a decision, to give Diane and I the authority to investigate moving ahead with a company called Tyler Technologies, which sponsors what's called the Munis system. Many years ago, when I was in state government, I looked to Tyler Technologies and the Munis system to try it out for state government. However, at that point, the platform was not yet ready. I think that several benefits will come out of the Munis system. Number one, I hope the system will allow us to work more efficiently. We have myself and a 30-hour person, basically, who are the backbone of the finance office. We have the deputy tax collector, who serves a huge segment of Lisbon's population, being everybody. And it has a fairly good tax billing and tax collection system. The good thing about the system is that we don't have to provide the technical infrastructure. I want to investigate moving ahead with the system based on what I'll call software as a service, which pretty much relieves us of everything other than coming in the morning and turning on the computer. All of the maintenance, the technical upgrades, the troubleshooting, once implementation is attained, falls on the vendor. The only thing that we will be responsible for is when we need to upgrade our desktops, that we upgrade the desktops. I'm hoping also that one of the benefits that come out of the system will be the ability to put information out on the web that's useful to Lisbon citizens should they want to take a look at how town government expends its money. I initially did that several years ago on the state level, and we put out a CSV file, basically, for people to take a look at. What I'd really like to do here is take this to the next step, okay, and give some financial reporting capability. People can go in and make a selection of things they'd like to see off a menu. As important as that, I'd like to be able to provide to the council some facilities to get in and do some self-select as far as reporting. With the current TRIO system, if you don't hit the right keys and select the right fields, the information you get back is not always consistent. There are times when Diane and I are working together and we're both looking at what we think the same data is, but in fact, I may have just skewed it a little differently than what she has, and, you know, we don't match up sometimes, and it takes us a few minutes to figure out what's happened. For me, outside of financial reporting, the system will be GASB 34 compliant, which doesn't mean a lot to you folks, but it puts us in the position of having an auditor come in and actually audit our records rather than come in and compile our financial statements and turn around and then audit our financial statements. So we'll get more audit coverage by virtue of bringing the system in, and hopefully at a lesser cost. It will also facilitate the reconciliation of the remaining bank accounts after we whittled it down from 40 to the most reasonable number. And again, the rest of it's all commentary that you had in the notes. And so I'd really like your permission to work with Diane, move forward to come up with a cost estimate and be able to present you something hopefully early in January. I'd like to be able to capture this group because I think we could get our GL up and going by sometime first of the fiscal year. If we wait too much longer, then I'm probably 2 years out from a rollover in implementation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a couple quick questions, if you don't mind. Great. So I know we've talked TRIO before. So are they meeting their contractual obligations as far as support when we do run into these?
Absolutely. You couldn't ask for a better group to try to help you. It's just that the system is basically a lot of Excel spreadsheets linked together by an Access front end.
Okay.
So a lot of times when something ought to be as simple as taking your eraser and erasing it, you need to call technical support to have them to get behind the front end and try to do the fix. And sometimes, I'll tell you, as good as what they are, and they're good partners to work for, they get baffled about what the fix should be. Okay?
That's fair. That's very fair. So obviously, I think we've reached the max user number then with TRIO, I think is what I'm getting from when we talk about 9,000 people versus when we look at Tyler, and Tyler's has more scalability for not only to support what we have for infrastructure now, but to meet any growing base that we have as well. It would be
The
more
system has the scalability that if we ever got to the point where we could convince everybody we should be on some sort of a common platform, it would accommodate the water department and be able to report it appropriately as a component unit of the town. It could accommodate the school. It would certainly eliminate the number of transfers that I have to do. I probably do, depending upon what the volume of the school is, I go in and I transfer 4 times a month for payroll. 4 times a month I have to move cash for bills. The way things are set up now, anything that comes in from the state has to flow through our general fund account. So you end up with having to make what I'll call flaky journal entries. You don't really receipt the cash in, you just pass it right through to a due to, due from account.
Okay.
So moving to a more sophisticated system will allow for better internal control over the town's finances.
Okay. And right now, I assume the school and the water department aren't using a Tyler. Are they using TRIO, or are they just using independent?
I think the water department is using a Northern Data system, and I believe the school uses a platform that is owned by Tyler Technology, but not the Munis platform.
I see. So I'm thinking outside the box here. Maybe if we're gonna, and I'm not saying it's not a bad idea to look into this, because I think I'm a pretty big fan of it at this point, because I know we've talked about this a little bit. But if we were going to go ahead and pitch Tyler, would it be a good idea to try to pitch if we could get everybody on board at the same time, more bang for the buck? I don't even know if that's realistic, or do it could be launched. If we're going to do the town, do the school and the water. I mean,
Well,
maybe, but
I have a lot of thoughts on that. My first gut reaction to that is whatever can go wrong does go wrong in any system implementation.
for sure.
Okay? What I have looked at from Tyler is a very plain vanilla type of application. I intend on bringing it in and not making any modifications. If we have to make changes, we'll make the changes to the extent that we can here at the town, okay? We've purposefully left out assessing and code enforcement because TRIO has a good program. It's something that really is not needed at the current time. So the concentration is general ledger, cash receipts, tax billing, tax collection, fixed assets, debt, payroll, human resources management, okay? From there, treasury management as well, cash management. If those things can all get going good over the course of a year, it certainly does have the scalability. However, we also have to then talk to our partners here in town And we have to have willing people, because when you don't have willing partners, no amount of technology is ever going to bring people together. So let's concentrate on getting ourselves off the ground and being successful, and then we'll see if our partners are interested.
That's fair enough. Let's kind of circle back then. I know we're in the planning, but would be the plan to speak with any other communities of the same size and scope that might be using the Tyler product as well, just to kind of get a gauge, or have we already started down that road?
I've been doing that now. A lot of my old pals are out in the field, and I talk to the finance director down at Cumberland quite a bit. She's probably the person I'm most familiar with, and she's had long experience with the Munis system. Great. And I know there's another jurisdiction not too far away from Lisbon that's now currently undergoing the transition over to Munis, and I make sure I touch base with that individual frequently.
Great.
Yes, you do.
That's good enough for me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess, Diane, he can do what he wants to do.
Yeah, well, we'll bring back some proposals to you, and, yeah, we'll research
I
it
mean.
more. We'll come back to you. We should have something by the first meeting in January.
Post that, would you?
Next item, Twyla.
Audience participation and response for new items.
Fern La Rochelle, Listen Falls. So they can feel old. I'm not that old, because when I came in, Rodney was still actually doing a written ledger, and then moved into Trio. I mean, I guess it kind of shows the times that things are changing, right? But it actually is, things are involved in. We used to get a stack this high. They used to have to kind of go through to actually try to figure out what page anything was on. So the idea of getting something you could actually look at all pads, because eventually you won't have paper. You'll be able to just have your pads up there, and you'll be just going through as Mr. Garrison used to do pretty much most of the meeting, which is kind of cool. A couple different things I'd like to present. As far as being on the 196 group, I appreciate Tracy and all the work. There's been a lot of work done on this, and as Roger alluded to earlier, I'm not really a patient person when it comes to getting things done a lot. So this sidewalk thing has actually dragged on way too long as far as for my liking of a project. And I believe this upcoming year we will, if all goes well, we'll be able to actually to present something and actually get something done, because the group, as you know, in any town, when you have volunteer groups that get together to do something, that volunteer group only stays together as long as the project keeps moving, because if things go stagnant, they kind of fall away. So hopefully that will actually take place, and with the help of the council, we can actually use the money that's already been presented and actually make that to good use. Don Fellows left, and he asked me to present something. We've been actually talking about it as a group, and I just want to plant a seed that maybe give you folks something to think about. As we come down Davis Street, and we're crossing 196. If most people know, if you're down in Miller's Variety and you look to the old gas station across the street or Lisbon House of Pizza, people come down 196 from Lewiston, and when they come around that corner, typically they're traveling pretty well. And that crosswalk there is the one that we're really trying to improve, because if we're trying to get pedestrians from the walking path to come to our downtown, we like to have them make them to the downtown and not get chewed up on 196. And that's a pretty evil place to cross at times. Especially at the right time of day, 3:30, 4:45. If you're trying to pull out of those places, you realize what type of where the intersection is. One of the things that we've been actually talking about on the side, and we've mentioned it a little bit during the group, is there's a filling station there that hasn't been active in years. It's actually just, it's a matter of fact, I felt bad the other day. I had to pull in. There was an older woman trying to make the pumps work. And I kind of explained that there's no longer a business there, but so it is there. People do see it, unfortunately. And if you look in there where this gas station is, it was actually a great gas station this day when things were happening. Now there's actually where the pumps are. There's really not enough room to park a car on the other side without getting into the traffic lane. So if it was ever to open up again and they had the best prices, unfortunately, it'd be packed up in the Lisbon House of Pizza and on the other side of the road. If you go there and just kind of pay attention when you go by next time, you're going to see that crosswalk that we're hoping to put in there dumps in the middle of the parking lot. So if it ever become an active business again, all the work we do, we're going to direct people right into a busy lane of traffic. And I'll just plant a seed here, and I'll let you continue on, because this is going to be something that's going to be talked about a long time. We recently actually sold a parcel on Route 9 that the town's owned for years. And whether that was good judgment or not, I mean, it's already done, and it's one of those things where the town really couldn't see that property. They could drive by. A lot of people just knew it as the trail. They didn't really know it as the property. A lot of concerns. I mean, it's pretty much cut now. If you go by, it's actually been harvested, and that's probably what needed to be done on that property for a long time. It would be nice to see those revenues that got generated from that sale of Lisbon property the residents had for years and actually reallocated to a different location. That would make our town look a lot better when you drive through town. I'd rather see pedestrians cross 196 and come into a nice area that actually maybe has a little green space, a safe entrance and a safe exit for people to come through. The gas station has been for sale for a long time. If you notice, there's a big sign out front. It went to actually bid this summer, and it didn't even meet the minimum bid. There's a lot of opportunities with that since it has new tanks in the ground, and all those are hypothetical, but the idea of that Lisbon could probably take the money that we generated from the sale of one property and buy another property, clean it up, level it out, and make it nice when people drive down. You know, you usually gauge a town. I'm not sure how many people travel, but if I'm traveling up north, when I come into a community and I see old gas stations boarded up and nothing's been done with them for years, it kind of gives you an idea what the economic stability of that community is. It just doesn't play a really good picture. And if we have the opportunity and funding to actually reinvest that money into a place like that, to actually make it a nice space and to do what we want to do is have a nice safe crossing across 196 and actually be able to highlight the businesses that are there, I think it would be a great opportunity. But again, this is long term. This is just planting a seed. But if we were going to do something, it would be a great time when we are engineering that crosswalk to actually know what's going to be on the other side. And then the second part of my discussion may be a little bit different. And again, as Roger mentioned earlier, I'm not always a patient person, and I do appreciate everything you're doing, Roger, and the council as far as on this budget, because I know it's been tough. There's no question about it. And I do realize that even with your vote tonight, that as a community person and representing some of the groups, I realize as the budget is right now, that we're not going to the taxpayers and asking for more money. You know, the budget is set. There's no question about it. This next vote isn't about raising money. It's basically going to be a yes or no vote whether or not our administration can work together. Basically what it comes down to. It's either going to be a no vote because our people can't get together and get it done, or it's going to be a yes vote because our actually people in town are working together to get it done. We actually have councils, we have a school board, and they're actually people that work for a living. They do stuff every day. They meet in the evenings. They dedicate a lot of time to the community. We actually have an administration on both sides that we actually pay for. I mean, I would like to see both entities actually put it through the administration. There is enough time. I realize we are up against a wall as far as the idea of a time frame. To me, there is ample time for the school board, the council, to direct the administration to come up with an agreement. So prior to this meeting, the community can actually be known that they've worked together and actually resolved this. Again, I'm not looking for a vote that goes out and raises more money because I've already got my tax bill. You know, I mean, everybody's already done that. That road is actually, that road is paved, you know, then without a doubt. The question is on the votes is, can our actual municipality and our school board work together to actually solve this problem? And it's not a huge problem. If you look at the scale of our budgets, what that $83,000 or $90,000 represents, it's actually kind of sad. What's even more sad is every time we go to an election, that $3,000 is the taxpayer in town that saves all year to pay their taxes that may eke in that $3,000 that we throw out the window every time we do it. So as of now, we've already thrown out 3 houses in this town that pay taxes all year long that basically said we couldn't get it done. And again, it's not about raising any more money. At this point, the yes or no vote is strictly whether or not our administrations can get it done. And I just want to make sure that people that do realize that I don't think anybody's looking for more money at this point. I think it's just the idea of taking the monies we have and making it happen. Thank you.
Dennis?
Hi, Dennis Douglas, King Road, Lisbon, also Code Enforcement Building Inspector. Not making any suggestions tonight, but just wanted to bring up a unique situation that we have in town right now. I didn't realize firms can get up and bring up one of the properties, but we've got a few significant historical pieces of property in town right now that are in peril, we should say. It was nice Tracy brought up the Moxie building. I'm just asking the council here to really look at all options on some of these properties, because once they're gone, they're gone. There's a lot of historical significance there. So the one I'm bringing up to you tonight, a lot of people aren't aware of, but it's Cushman Tavern. So if anybody's heard of Cushman Tavern, it's on the corner of King Road and Route 9. It's been vacated, and quite frankly, I'm going to have to post it and condemn the building, unfortunately, but that's one of the oldest buildings in the town of Lisbon, if not the oldest. It's right about there. There's a lot of good stories about that building, and inside there's big murals on the wall, painted murals and whatnot. The person who's left the building has given us access to go in, take pictures. I've been in touch with the Historical Society. But the bottom line is it has holes in the roof like this. All that significance is going to be gone pretty soon because it's going to be unsavable. So I'm just throwing it out there that we have a unique historical building in town that's vacant now that's just going to fall apart if it goes to another winter with holes in the roof and whatnot. I don't know if we can do anything or not, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. We also have what was brought up, the foreclosure property. I really want you to look at that property as well because that abuts our children's park and our library, and it's been a major eyesore for a long time. It's a hazard. It's another building that needs to come down, but it's a tremendous opportunity for the town to fix that area, especially when it comes to parking. It would make a tremendous parking lot, or there could be other uses. But it does abut our children's park and our library, so it's a nice opportunity to look at that parcel, probably for quite cheap. So
That apartment house, right?
What's that?
That apartment house?
Yeah, it was an apartment house, big gray one, had a tarp on the roof since I can remember. But it does, literally, the back wall is our children's park right there in the library. So it's a strategic piece of property to look at. The other one is that gas station. From a planning standpoint, the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to this town is that it becomes a gas station again. It's a terrible location for it. There's no queuing lanes. It would create a nightmare down there. Unfortunately, the people that own that had to upgrade all the pumps and everything because the state had a deadline when all the pumps and everything had to be done. So even though it's a vacant property, they went in and put all new pumps and everything in there. So it is brand new pumps. So some options just, could be a place instead of replacing the public works pumps, could be a place that we work as a town. It could be a place that we fuel our vehicles down there. It's all brand new. So just trying to put some suggestions out there to maybe look at reinvesting a little bit in the town with some of the money. I don't know what we're doing with the Route 9 property, but that was a big piece of property, and maybe we could pick up some historical properties. The Moxie Building's sitting there as well. Everybody knows the historical significance there. So just hate to see the town lose some of those things. When they're gone, they're gone. So doing what I can with the Historical Society, but obviously, we don't have a Historical Society that has a budget that's going to go in and protect these buildings. They're going to go in and take some pictures and document it, and that's what we're going to have is, paperwork to show what it once was. So just wanted to bring those up because people aren't aware. I think those are the 4 buildings, and the Cushman Tavern's worth some research. A lot of people don't know about it, but I've read some articles on it, and it's very, very interesting. From way back when it started, people came from all over it says in the articles, all over the country. I don't know how they traveled by horse all over the country, but they came from a long ways away just to see that building and the artwork that was done on the walls and whatnot. So it's worth throwing it out there. So
Is that salvageable?
it is on the registry. I wasn't even aware of that. That actually building, I don't know where it falls with Sabatis, but the line goes through as both towns. Actually, that property goes through both towns, but I didn't realize it was on the registry. So, but I don't know how the town can step in and protect it, but if you drive by, you'll see there's holes in the roof like this, and obviously that's not going to do good for the building inside. So,
Is it salvageable right now, or is it?
I haven't been in. I think it's pretty rough inside, but the bones to me look good. If I was able, it'd be something I'd be very interested in. Especially the town needs a watering hole. But.
So, yeah. So it's on the Sabatis and Lisbon line, so
Correct.
is it possible we could find a partner in Sabatis? Do they have much shared history with it as well as we do, or is it mostly?
I've been talking with Sabatis as well, just about that and trying to figure out. It looks like the building itself, the main house portion, is on the Sabatis side, and the garages, barns that are attached to it are on the Lisbon side. I don't know exactly the line, but to me it could be a joint effort with Sabatis. But, again, when a building like that is gone, it's gone. And maybe there's not a lot of historical significance, but what I've read and seen, there seems to be. But it is dated, and the building's not going to be around much longer if we don't do something. So, all right.
Thank you.
Dick?
My name is Richard Nettle of Lisbon Falls, Maine. I got 3 things I would like to bring up right here. First of all, I'm going to skip right to this one here. I don't want to see a ban on them, but those things they're coming out with, and I think we ought to get the upper hand on it. And these hoverboards that they're coming out with, some of them are burning up and stuff. We may have some problems here in town with, with kids getting them and stuff. They're not really a toy. And they charge them, and some of the batteries burn up, but that's not the thing. You're going to have them out on the road. I don't know if we can extend the skateboard rules that we have in the town to get them off that. Maybe we can find a place that they can go, so we don't get them in the roads. We don't need those things in the roads. And the other thing you're going to have too is your trails. You're going to have them on there too, because if the kids have got them, they're going to be over there in those walking paths and so forth. They don't need to be there. The other thing, I'm going to go to this one. Okay. Regardless if I'm wrong in the way I'm going to do this, but I want to keep this going like I spoke when I ran over here. I want to see the people vote on their budget, just like they do in the school. And I'm going to go around and I'm going to get people to sign it. I don't care if I have to get everybody to sign it to keep this thing going. But we need to have a committee or whatever it takes to get this going, so if it takes 2.5 years, we get it done and amend our charter. Okay, the other thing, I brought this up with Roger, and I'm going to bring it up again. When I talked with him down here at the new parts place for automobiles here at the shopping center. Okay, I want to talk about the Durham Bridge, okay? We always call it the Durham Bridge. Why don't we give this thing a name? Now, the first person, I should say, was Walter Parker, who walked across it. I know we're talking about allowing him to be the first person to walk across it. But why don't, and he's also a World War II veteran. He walked across it in 1938. The black one, which was originally there, washed out because of ice buildup in 1 April 1936 during the 100-year flood that we've had here in town between Lisbon and Durham. My mother was the last one to cross that black one before it went out. But I don't care about that. But, okay, this is what it's going to have to take probably. Okay, we're going to have to contact Durham, probably get their support, maybe vote, and have the people vote on it. The same thing we're going to have to do here with the Lisbon residents and you people if this goes through. And then the legislature is going to be the next ones we're going to have to get both houses in the legislature, and then go to the governor. Hopefully he will sign it. There's no money on this like that. And we call this thing the Walter Parker Bridge. I don't know if he has a middle name or a middle initial, but I know it's Walter Parker. And hopefully he will be around to walk across the new one. He's in his 90s. I don't know how his health is, but it would be a good tribute to him, and we got a World War II veteran. And if we need a committee to do it, then let's do it. And it's the same with the hoverboards. If we need a committee for them, then let's get something going, take care of the problem before it occurs with those, and get this done over here for Walter, rather than just calling it the Durham Bridge. That's what they always called it. Let's give it a proper name. They did that with the North Bridge. They gave it a name. It's time we gave it one of our vets that served in World War II. Something. Thanks.
Besides, I've already got the ball rolling on that. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Bob Kaler, Dumas Street, Lisbon Falls. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
It's actually a procedural question, sort of looking to move forward, and I don't know if it's something Twyla would know. It's around sort of public hearings, referendums, and sort of timelines as things move forward. I'm not sure, and it's just a question as moving forward for future referendums. Do the public hearings and the votes and the ballots being printed right now, at least throughout this process, it seems to have been all backed up to the same day, which leaves very little time to have a public hearing, think about it, and sort of work through things. And so I don't know if that's something that's required by law, or can you have a public hearing and then at the next meeting have the vote? Because the way, at least it seems to be set up throughout this process, you come, you have a conversation, and you have to vote because the ballots need to be printed. And so that, unless that's required by law, that seems to put an artificial sort of timeline on things, if I'm explaining that clearly. Because throughout this process, it sort of seems like by the time we had it had to be public hearing, vote that night, because the ballots need to be printed. And I don't know if that's a requirement by law or just how it's been organized. But I would encourage, if it doesn't need to be that way, it would give people time. Same with citizens. If they come, it's the first time they hear about something, they need time to think about it too. So, just a question.
I can't answer that, but I'll try to get back to you on it.
Great. Thank you, Ron.
Next item, 12.
Is,
Make it quick, Dick.
Okay, this is Richard Nettle again. I would like to thank everybody who voted for me, and I would like to congratulate the members of the Lisbon Council and the ones who were voted on. Thanks.
Next item, 12.
is under appointments. Order 2015-365 to appoint the wardens for Ward 1, Sheila Gray, and Ward 2, Rick Roberts.
Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next.
Counselor Communications?
I've got something. We're gonna have, or we're planning a going away party for the 3 councilors that have left. It's gonna be in January. It's not a surprise, 'cause as you can tell. But, if anybody wants to go, I mean, the town is gonna buy the meal for them and their significant other. But everybody else pays, and if you would like to go, please get a hold of Jody, and she is gonna make the reservations to do it. I believe, I'm not positive, it's either gonna be, I think it's gonna be Da Vinci's, I'm not positive. But if you wanna go, I have no idea. It's usually the last time we did one for Fern, it was, you had like 3 meals to pick from. And you could choose which one you wanted. So anybody that wants to go, even you, Larry, you're welcome. Not yet. Well, she wants to find out how many people really would like to go, and then she's gonna set it up. It's gonna be in January.
Okay, thank you.
And most likely it'll either be a Friday or a Saturday night.
Excellent.
Anybody else?
Yeah, just a quick, this was just let everybody know in the community that this Friday, Bowdoin College, the Ice Arena Lisbon hockey team will be, Lisbon Mount Ararat hockey team has I think it's a home game at 7 p.m. So I'd love to see some folks out there supporting the hockey team. I know they sold all their trees early again this year, so that's another great sign of a community that responds to a need when the team has one. So that's what I got.
Anything else? Next item, 12.
We have no executive session. It would be order 2015-366 to adjourn.
Any motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second? All in favor?
Don't run off, there's stuff to sign.
Oh, yeah.
already did.
Wow, this is fresh stack. I didn't see anybody's signature beyond that.
Yeah.
Should have started at this end.
Needs to sign right
My girl, she's a stud.